Let's rewind the clock to the early 2000s, a time when gaming was in the middle of a second renaissance. Developers were pushing the limits of what games could be, and studios started using video games as full-on marketing tools for films. Take Harry Potter, for example. Every time a new movie dropped, you better believe a game followed right behind it. By the time Goblet of Fire hit shelves, they were even using the actors' actual likenesses. That's the power of a good movie tie-in, and we've seen plenty of them. The Matrix Path to Neo gave us an alternate spin on the films. Spider-Man 2, that was the Spider-Man game for a whole generation. And of course, GoldenEye, a game so impactful it basically jump-started a whole new era for first-person shooters. Movie tie-ins used to mean something, and Rockstar Games, they wanted in. So what did they do? They dropped one of the most faithful and ambitious movie tie-ins ever made. It landed itself in 1001 video games you must play before you die. For a company already dominating headlines with GTA, this game was proof they could do more than chaos and carjackings. They could tell stories, real ones. Welcome to episode 11 of the Rockstar Takeover. Today, we're hopping on the train back to Coney Island with the Warriors. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. And if you've been rocking with me for a while, welcome back. Just so we're all on the same page, the Rockstar Takeover originally started as a build-up to GTA 6, but a few weeks ago, Rockstar hit us with the delay bomb. Yeah, that dream got pushed back, but I was already a few videos deep into the series, and I'm not stopping now. We're still getting the Rockstar Takeover with or without GTA 6. We've got some heavy hitters on the way: Bully, Red Dead Redemption, and soon LA Noire. And running alongside this series, we've also been hosting the Mortal Kombat Takeover, which wraps up next week with Mortal Kombat X. Now, just a heads up, my golden rule on this channel is to focus on games that are at least 10 years old. Why, you might ask? Because enough time has passed for us to truly see their impact. But if we hit the goal this year, I might break my own rule and give you more recent retrospectives too. Right now, the goal is to hit 10,000 subs. We just cracked 6,000, and right now we are less than 4,000 away. If you enjoyed this kind of content, hit that subscribe button. And if this video brings back memories or teaches you something new, show us some love with a like. It really helps get this video out to more people. With all that said, let's dive into this. Let's start this background information section with a history lesson. Let's take it way back. Ancient Greek. In 401 BC, a military commander named Xenophon found himself in the middle of one of history's most legendary survival stories. He was part of an army of 10,000 Greek mercenaries hired by a Persian prince, Cyrus the Younger, who was trying to snatch the throne from his brother. The Greeks won the battle at Kanaxa in modern-day Iraq, but their victories came at a cost. Cyrus was eliminated in the fight, and not long after, the Greek officers were lured into a supposed peace talk and eliminated. Suddenly, the mercenaries were stranded deep in enemy territory, surrounded by hostile forces with no leadership, no way home, and no allies. Enter Xenophon. He stepped up and led this ragtag army through northern Iraq and into the harsh mountains of eastern Turkey, battling not just enemies, but the elements themselves. Eventually standing atop a mountain in modern-day Turkey, they saw it, the Black Sea. For the Greeks, it meant salvation. Home was possible. This epic journey was immortalized by Xenophon himself in a book called Anabasis. Now fast forward to January 18th, 1925, Manhattan, New York. That's when Sol Uric was born. By age 19, after clashing with his father, he enlisted in World War II and served as an Army surgical technician. When the war ended, he came back home, earned a literature degree from NYU, and worked for the New York City Welfare Department as a social investigator through the 1960s. The Warriors. Urich's novel is Anabasis in a denim jacket and sneakers. The ancient Greek mercenaries became the Dominators, a fictional New York gang trying to get back to Coney Island after a truce meeting in the Bronx goes sideways. Just like Xenophon's men, they are leaders, outnumbered and surrounded by enemies in unfamiliar territory. Urich didn't just loosely base it on Anabasis. He framed the novel with direct quotes and even includes a character reading a comic book version of the Greek tale. It's a direct parallel, bringing the ancient and modern worlds through a shared theme of survival. By transplanting Anabasis into the gritty streets of 1960 New York, Urich tackled bigger themes: leadership, betrayal, identity, and the hunger for belonging, all through the lens of marginalized youth. The Warriors wasn't just a gang novel, it was a modern myth. Roughly a decade after The Warriors was first published, Sol Urich got the offer of a lifetime. Hollywood came knocking. In a later account, Urich remembered, "It was 1976 or 1977, I don't remember exactly, when I got an offer from a small independent filmmaker to make a movie out of my novel, The Warriors. He told me that he had always loved the book and had long wanted to produce it. He said he could do it almost exactly as it had been written. I was excited. However, at the very last moment, in fact, the day before signing, my agent received an offer for the rights to the novel offered by a Hollywood reporter, Lawrence Gordon. The movie would be directed by Walter Hill. I agreed to the more lucrative offer. I would get more money, but more important, perhaps my book would be republished." After signing off the rights, Urich was left in the dark. Months went by with no word, until he caught word that a preview screening of the film in San Francisco happened. To his surprise, the audience hated it. He figured the movie would be shelved, but 6 months later, posters for The Warriors began popping up all over New York. Despite being sidelined during most of the film's production, Urich called the studio to see what was happening. To his shock, they invited him to the premiere. It was held at one of the big theaters in Times Square, and there he saw Walter Hill in the lobby, visibly nervous. After all, his last film had flopped, so The Warriors had to hit. As the movie played, Urich watched with growing discomfort. Critics were panning it for being unrealistic, with stilted dialogue and a hyper-style tone, but Urich's disappointment ran deeper. The message, the soul of his novel, was gone. He even went on to go and state, "I looked for my novel on the screen. I found the skeleton of it intact. Its revolutionary content was missing." Even stranger, some critics assumed the film was based on the Odyssey. Urich had to correct them, and Anabasis by Xenophon was the real source material. That clarification slowly started changing the conversation around the movie. Still, Urich wasn't thrilled. He recalled the morning after the premiere. "I went home disappointed. The next day, opening day, I was invited to Paramount's publicity department. There were a number of journalists there. One of them asked me what I thought about the movie. I disliked it, but I didn't want to say that. I said instead that I found it interesting. I was immediately taken aside by one of the publicity people who told me that the word interesting was the kiss of death. I tried to avoid talking to anyone else." Critics weren't kind. Urich was let down, and yet the streets spoke louder. The Warriors was gritty, weird, over the top, and unforgettable. It wasn't long before the film began to earn its stripes as a cult classic, thanks to its surreal portrayal of gang life in a fantasy version of 1970s New York. And among the film's growing fan base, two brothers, Sam and Dan Houser, the future founders of Rockstar Games. Years later, after putting out juggernauts like GTA and Max Payne, they decided to try their hand at a movie tie-in, and they knew exactly which movie they wanted to adapt. In a New York Times interview, one of the Housers explained, "When you watch it as a 7-year-old kid, it seems super weird and terrifying. When you watch it today, it's over the top. It's sort of surreal in most of the points." But the structure and the style translate perfectly into a video game world. The structure of the journey, encountering people and defeating them on the route, was a fighting game in a movie format before it was ever a video game. He continued, in a lot of films, you look at the way the narrative is designed, and the way the focus is so heavily on the characters or the period means they wouldn't translate into good video games. Maybe in 20 years' time, you can make a game that's more sophisticated at a character level, but we're still at a point in the evolution of games that physical actions are more effective to convey than emotions or conversations. And just like that, a new project was born. On August 1st, 2002, Rockstar Toronto made it official. They were working on a video game adaptation of The Warriors. Development wouldn't be rushed. For 3 years, the team immersed themselves in capturing the raw energy of 1970s New York, from the gritty alleyways to the clashing gang identities that made the original film so iconic. It wasn't just about recreating the movie. It was about expanding it, respecting the source while building something players could feel. Then came E3 2005. The Warriors finally stepped into the spotlight, sharing the stage with other Rockstar titles like Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories and Bully. And while those games drew attention, it was the Warriors trailer that caught people off guard, in a good way. The look, the vibe, the tension, it was everything fans didn't realize they wanted until it was in front of them. The booth was buzzing, the hype was real.
Future is ours! One gang could run this city! We've got the streets, suckers!
The Warriors, coming October 2005.
Can you dig it?
And fans didn't have to wait long. Just 5 months later, on October 17th, 2005, The Warriors officially dropped for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox in North America. 4 days later, it launched in Europe on October 21st, 2005. What started as a cult classic film had become a full-fledged console experience, bringing the heat of Coney Island, the Bronx, and everything in between into the palms of players' hands.
Warriors, come out to play!
Only this time, don't forget your PlayStation 2. The mad geniuses at Rockstar have transformed the cult classic film The Warriors into yet another genre-defining game.
We love The Warriors. I mean, it's one of our favorite films, and we're also huge fans of the brawler genre. So we've decided to take the fighting genre and put it into a living New York City.
The film, which came out in 1979, based on a novel by Saul Urich and directed by Walter Hill, has a storyline tailor-made for a beat-em-up game.
The Warriors is a film about a gang from Coney Island who go to a gang meeting in the Bronx, and at this gang meeting, Cyrus, the leader of the Riffs, is assassinated, and the Warriors are blamed for the killing. The Warriors have to get back to Coney Island while the cops are after them and other gangs. We've taken that movie and turned it into a complete interactive experience.
To make that experience as full and realistic as possible, Rockstar went the extra mile to get New York City circa '79 just right.
For the Warriors movies, one of the main characters was the environment. New York at night is a beast. Late 70s New York was a much different place than it is now. It was a lot darker, a lot grittier, a lot more dangerous at night. So we did a lot of research for the environments, but also the street furniture, the garbage, the dilapidated buildings, and I think we represent that sense very well in our game.
During the course of the game, you'll spend a lot of time on the Warriors' home turf, Coney Island.
During our research, we did a lot of work with the residents of Coney Island, actually, to make sure that we were as accurate as we could be to represent Coney Island from 1979. So, for instance, we worked with the unofficial mayor of Coney Island, Dick Zigan, who runs the Coney Island Museum.
New York City was a very different place then from what it is now. You know, the movie reflects an artistic view of a reality that was happening in 1979. But, you know, since that time, a lot has changed. So, for instance, this is the only building in Coney Island that's trashed out, windows broken, covered with graffiti. In 1979, half the neighborhood looked like this. New York City went bankrupt in the mid-70s. The subways were covered by graffiti. New York was a crazy place to be in.
This crazy city is fleshed out in much broader scope. The game makers have included most of the movie scenes and setups while adding tons of new content.
So everything that you see in the movie, you're going to get to play in our game. Plus, we've added more to our title because the movie's only 90 minutes long, and our game's going to offer 20 plus hours of gameplay. So we aren't just living one night with the Warriors like you do in the film. This takes place over a whole summer, leading up to the events of the film. Another thing we do is we have flashback missions, which get unlocked as you play the game. And the flashback missions actually tell you the story of how the Warriors are formed.
Stories are nice, but let's not forget that there's a game to play and some major brawling to be done. And so many ways to do it.
Since, you know, there is a strong narrative to the Warriors, we do have a storyline that you do follow. But once you go into a mission, you can play the mission any way you want. At the heart of this game, it's a brawler, it's a fighting game. We wanted to make it very easy, very accessible to people, but also deep enough to have fighting fans feel like this is a full-fledged fighting game. Another thing we think is really cool about the game is the rage mode. The more style points you get, the more combos you throw, the faster your rage bar fills. Once your rage bar is filled and you activate rage mode, you become invincible and you actually get a whole new set of combat moves, which allow you to clear more space or do instant kills. The other thing that's unique is that it's not just you running down the street by yourself. You are running with a gang, so you have gang commands. You actually can tell your warriors to do things for you, whether it's go beat up this guy or, hey, let's go steal stuff in this store.
In combining the cult film classic with intense interactive gameplay, The Warriors promises something for everyone.
We have taken the brawler genre and really evolved it to the next level. I think we're delivering something that is completely fresh. We aren't making just another left-to-right beat-em-up game. It's like we are making the world of the Warriors, and that was just really cool to be a part of.
Can you dig it?
Okay, here's a quick spoiler alert as I'm about to tell the story behind The Warriors. There will also be major spoilers for The Warriors film as well. Now, if you're not a fan of spoilers, please advance this video to the gameplay overview section as seen on the timeline below. Let's dive into this. Now, the game's story wasn't just a straight retelling of the film, it went deeper. It expanded the lore, fleshed out the characters, and gave us the why behind the what. Through a series of flashbacks, we get to witness how the Warriors even came to be. These moments serve as a build-up to the main story, and by the time they're done, the movie events are fully set in motion. Let's start with the very beginning. It's April 16th, 1978. Cleon and Vermin, at this point are members of the Destroyers, are summoned by their warlord, Virgil. He claims he's broken a drug deal with the Satan's mothers and needs Cleon and Vermin to help make it happen. The plan? Grab the drugs from a dealer named LC and meet Virgil at Tax Warehouse by midnight to seal the deal. Cleon and Vermin do their part. They meet LC, secure the package, and head to the warehouse. But when midnight hits and Virgil's nowhere to be found, they try to handle the exchange themselves. That's when it all goes sideways. Turns out, the drugs are fake. The Satan's mothers aren't just angry, they're out for blood. Betrayed in ambush, Cleon and Vermin are forced to fight their way out of the warehouse, taking down gang leaders Spider and Tiny along the way. When they finally make it back to the Destroyer's hangout, they confront Virgil, who doesn't deny the setup. Tensions boil over, and right there in the heat of it all, Cleon draws the line. He breaks away from the Destroyers and declares war, starting his own gang. From that betrayal, the Warriors are born.
Virgil, you son of a bitch, get your ass down here!
Hey, Cleon. How'd the deal go?
You backstabbing punk!
Hey! You guys know better than rip off them Satan mothers.
We was brothers, man. We was supposed to make things happen.
You don't think I see you, Cleon? You don't think I know you trying to make moves behind my back? Trying to muscle me out of the way?
You paranoid fuck! You just started a war! And I'm gonna be the last motherfucker you see before it's over.
You crazy, man! You in what fucking army?
You gonna see, brother. You gonna see.
20 days have passed since Cleon and Vermin broke away from the Destroyers. It's now May 6, 1978, and the Warriors are still in their early days, small in numbers, but growing in ambition. Their next move? Recruitment. At a King of the Hill contest in Gun Hill, Cleon and Vermin run into two familiar faces, Swan and Cowboy, both former Destroyers. They're looking to prove themselves, and Cleon makes them an offer. Win the competition, and they'll earn a place among the Warriors. The contest goes off without a hitch. Swan and Cowboy take the crown, and just like that, the doors swing open. The very next night, their initiation begins, not with handshakes, but with mayhem. Swan and Cowboy tear through the streets of Coney Island, trashing storefronts, smashing up Skinny Pete's cars, and even roughing up Stefano. They make it clear to the local business owners, the Warriors run this turf now. The irony, they're offering protection by being the exact threat themselves. After the dust settles, Cleon decides it's time to lock down a proper hangout. Cowboy points out a local building that's currently being used by none other than LC, one of Virgil's lieutenants, and a crew of destroyers. That's all Cleon needs to hear. The Warriors storm the spot. A brutal brawl breaks outside, and they take down every destroyer in the place. LC tries to flee but gets cornered on the rooftop. There, the message is loud and clear. Coney Island belongs to the Warriors now. LC, drunk and shaken, leaps off the roof in a panic. He survives, but the message has been sent. Back downstairs, the Warriors celebrate their first real victory. Swan and Cowboy are officially in. The gang is growing, and Coney Island is now home base.
LC, you junkie fuck. You tell Virgil that Coney is Warriors' turf now. I don't want to see any destroyers anywhere near here.
Whatever, man. I ain't got time for you dudes, man. I got a plane to catch. I want to fly. Ah! Oh, shit, my leg.
Looks like we won't have to worry about them for a while.
Oh, they'll be coming, Cowboy. Virgil don't ever quit. But we'll be ready. We need to start recruiting and building our army, getting our funds and getting the rep. But tonight we celebrate. So wake up, Coney, because the Warriors are here to stay.
It's now June 15th, and the Warriors are on the lookout for some real muscle. Enter Ajax and Snow, two brawlers with something to prove. They're in their final stretch of their initiation, and to earn their place, they have to survive the Pen, which is a brutal trial designed to test both strength and loyalty. They come out bruised but standing tall, officially earning their colors. After the initiation, Cleon invites them to a party to celebrate, but Ajax, he's got other plans. He's meeting up with a girl named Rosie in East Coney Island. Problem is, that's destroyer territory, and they're warriors now. Sure enough, not long after Ajax and Snow link up with Rosie, they're jumped by a crew of destroyers. Their warriors' colors are stolen, disrespect of the highest order. With their colors gone, there's no time to party. Ajax and Snow go deep into East Coney to fix the situation. They track down a destroyer lieutenant named Benzie, who spills the beans. LC and Lemmy, both fellow lieutenants, have taken their vests. Snows was headed off to Lemmy, so the two head to Shantytown, where they find and beat him down to get it back. Next stop, a locked up pawn shop that leads them to LC's apartment. Inside, they find LC lounging with his girl, LaFonda, who just so happens to be wearing Ajax's vest. After knocking LC around, Ajax takes back what is his, and not just the vest. Let's just say he spends a little quality time with LaFonda before making his exit. But the night's far from over. On their way out, a swarm of destroyers spots them and gives chase. Ajax and Snow run through the streets of East Coney, finally making it to the boardwalk, only to be cornered. But just when things look grim, backup arrives. Cleon rolls in with a whole squad of warriors. The destroyers don't want that smoke and back off humiliated. Ajax and Snow got their colors back, but Cleon isn't exactly proud of the way they handled it. First night as official warriors, and they're already stirring up chaos. Still, the message is loud and clear. Ajax and Snow might be in trouble, but they're warriors now.
Aw, it's not even worth it. You fucking chumps are lucky, but next time...
Yeah? How about right now? Well, what are you waiting for? Beat me. First night with us and you're already stirring shit up? Well, this is not the time or the place. Ah, fuck.
Now it's July 22nd, 1978, and the spotlight shifts to Fox. He's not an official warrior yet, but he wants in. Cleon sees potential in him, but the rest of the crew, not so much. They're skeptical. Fox isn't the most physical guy, and he's not exactly known for throwing hands. So Cleon gives him a challenge to prove he's got what it takes. His task, head into Chinatown and disrupt the Savage Hun's cash flow. This is more than a test, it's a statement. To make things loud and clear, Cleon even has Fox and Vermin wear sweatshirts straight up disrespecting the Huns. It doesn't take long for that heat to catch up with them. The second they hit the streets of Chinatown, Fox and Vermin are jumped by a group of Huns, but they hold their own, taking down the first wave and going full chaos mode on nearby street stalls to stir up the scene. Their antics bring out a whole swarm of Huns, and now they've got to fight their way through or run. After dealing with the ambush, the two shift into recon mode. They tell Mr. Pong, the Hun's accountant, tracking his shady deals and keeping tags on his route. Once they've got what they need, they take him out and snatch his ledger, but they're not done yet. Next up is Sammy, the Hun's errand boy. Fox and Vermin follow him straight to the Savage Hun's headquarters, deep in hostile territory. Inside, it's a straight-up war zone. They fight through waves of Huns until officially coming face to face with their leader, Ghost. It's a brutal brawl, but Fox and Vermin come out on top. With Ghost laid out and Sammy's bag in hand, they make their escape, but not before the remaining Huns chase them out of Chinatown in a fury. They finally make it back to the station, tired, bruised, but still standing. And Cleon, he's impressed. He tells Fox he's earned it. The vest, the title, the respect. Fox is now officially a warrior.
You guys learn any kung fu up there?
No. We taught the Huns a few things though, right, brother?
Fucking A. Not
You
bad.
ain't so bad.
Right on, brother. Looks like you're gonna have to trade that shirt in for a vest.
Cool. I can dig that.
Just under a month later, August 18th, 1978, a new face steps into the scene. Harlem native Cochise has officially moved to Coney Island, and he's ready to rep the Warriors. But before he can rock the vest, he's got to prove himself. Cleon doesn't just hand out colors, he hands out challenges. So for Cochise, the task is simple on paper, but deadly in execution. Head back to Harlem and bring back a size 9 hat from one of the boppers. And just to make sure things stay on track, Cleon sends Snow to back him up. The mission starts with a bang. Cochise and Snow throw down with multiple bopper crews all over Harlem, but nobody's rocking a size 9. That leads them to the Roman Disco, where the fight continues. They smash through another wave of boppers before cornering Reggie, one of their lieutenants. Under pressure, Reggie gives up the name they've been waiting for, Big Mo, the leader of the boppers. Cochise and Snow hit up the Pocket, a local pool hall where Mo is rumored to hang out. But instead of Mo, they find Boxcar, another bopper lieutenant. After a quick interrogation, Boxcar points them towards the Black Cat, a strip club where Mo sometimes chill. Inside, they meet Debbie, a performer who's more than happy to talk for a price. After slipping her some cash, she lets them know that Mo is partying at Club 45 and even gives them her pass to get inside. Now armed with the way in, Cochise and Snow crash the party. On the dance floor of Club 45, they finally face Big Mo. It's a flashy, high-energy brawl set to pulsing music and swirling lights, but Cochise and Snow handle it. They take Mo down, grab the size 9 hat, and get out of there before more trouble follows. Back in Coney Island, Snow gives the nod, Cochise passed the test, another brother has been added to the ranks.
A size 9 hat, just like Cleon wanted. Your warrior material, my man. You see me drop that fat motherfucker? I was smoking him, man. That flashy Tobalard didn't see me come. Let's go celebrate.
Now that we covered all the flashback missions, it's time to shift gears and fully dive into the game's main story, the part that leads directly into the events of the film. It all kicks off 90 days before the big meeting with Cyrus. Cleon, the leader of the Warriors, and his right-hand man Vermin are looking to bring in more blood. Enter Rembrandt, a young street artist trying to make a name for himself. He's got heart, but Cleon needs to see if he can throw hands. So they take him to the fight pin near the Warriors' hangout and put him through the gauntlet. First, Rembrandt squares up with Rudy, a wild local vagrant, and after that, he's thrown into the ring with a group of hobos. But the real test comes when he has to hold his own against actual warriors. It's a trial by fire, but Rembrandt pulls through and earns his vest. Once patched in, Rembrandt throws on some clean gear and checks back with Cleon and Vermin. Cleon notices Rembrandt's banged up from the fights, so he sends Vermin to show him the ropes and, more importantly, where to find Flash. Out on the streets of Coney, Vermin gives Rembrandt the full crash course how to get quick cash, robbing stores, boosting car radios, mugging civilians. It's the dark hustle that keeps the gang's pockets full. After stacking a bit of cash, Vermin takes Rembrandt to the local Flash dealer to get patched up. From there, the two return to the hangout, ready for whatever comes next. This is Rembrandt's introduction into gang life, and the countdown to Cyrus's meeting has officially begun.
See, you're feeling better already. Let's get back to the hangout and see what Cleon's up to.
Following Rembrandt's initiation, the night continues, and things go from calm to chaos real quick. Vermin and Rembrandt return to the hangout, both still buzzing from earlier. Vermin's impressed. Rembrandt held his own, and he's got tagging skills to match. Rembrandt, hyped up, says he's ready to help the Warriors get on the map. But as Cleon starts telling him not to get ahead of himself, a Molotov cocktail crashed through the window. The Destroyers just made it personal. If you recall, this is the same gang that Cleon left after he was set up. The Warriors scramble to put out the fire. With smoke still clearing, Cleon leads Vermin and Rembrandt through the Coney Island alleyways to regroup. On the way, they link up with Ajax, and soon after, they come across Cowboy and Snow in a standoff with the cops. The two get cuffed, but before the cops can load them into the squad car, a call on the radio pulls them away. Cleon jumps into action, frees Cowboy and Snow, and the squad keeps moving. But it doesn't stop there. Deeper in the alley, they find Fox cornered by two cops. Cleon steps in to cause a distraction, giving Fox the window he needs to escape. Frustrated by how the cops are working in the area, Cleon orders the crew to make some noise. They take out a parked car, trash a nearby pharmacy, and keep the pressure up as they push deeper into the turf. Eventually, They find Swan and Cochise getting ready to throw down with a large group of destroyers. The warriors join the fray, and it's a full-blown brawl in the streets, or shall I say, rumble. Despite being outnumbered, the warriors come out on top. But when they get back to the hangout, they find the real insult. Their burner crossed out, spray painted right over with a destroyer's tag. That's the line. Cleon doesn't hesitate. He tells Rembrandt to gear up because now it's time for payback. They're gonna cross out every single destroyer tag in East Coney. It's not just about turf anymore. It's about respect. Meanwhile, across town, a cutscene shows Benzie returning to the Destroyer HQ with news of the beatdown. But Virgil, he's not sweating it. Instead of retaliating, he shrugs it off and sends LC out to grab some alcohol. The destroyers are partying, but the warriors, they're just getting started.
You see this, War Chief?
What the fuck? These dicks think they can get away with this shit?
Those lame-ass toys. We're gonna get him back, right, Cleon?
Relax. What do you want to do, War Chief?
Right now, Virgil is celebrating what he thinks was a victory. He won't expect us to hit him back on the same night, but that's exactly what we're going to do. Rembrandt, I hope you're ready for the real deal, because I want East Coney dripping red by morning. No one fucks with the Warriors home.
Yo, Virgil, we did it. Warriors house got bombed.
That's good. So everyone's back.
Some of our soldiers got jacked. They put up a good fight, though. Those warriors are getting pretty heavy, Virgil.
They ain't shit. I know these fucks. I know the Warriors. They couldn't cut it with us, so now they're going to try and take over. Well, I say let them try. The destroyers made Coney Island, and that's all we gotta worry about. Now go get up some fucking beers and some broads up in here. It's time we had ourselves a little party. Yeah. Pussy Patrol.
One day after that night, Cleon sends a war party consisting of Rembrandt, Vermin, Cowboy, and Ajax into East Coney Island to tag any destroyer's burner. After tagging the destroyer's burners on East Coney's two main streets, the war party prepared to head home. However, Vermin suggests that Rembrandt should tag over the destroyer's burner on the side of the hangout. Rembrandt seems reluctant, and Ajax makes his way to the hangout alone. Eventually, Rembrandt is persuaded, and Vermin and Cowboy stealthily make their way past the destroyer scouts to the hangout. Rembrandt is able to tag over the destroyer's burner, and as the war party leaves, they are reunited with Ajax. Later, Virgil wakes up following the destroyer's party. Looking out of his window, Virgil sees the new warrior's burner and vows revenge. As he turns away from the camera, it is shown that he has a red W painted on his back, which is what Ajax did after leaving the war party. A cutscene is then shown, which shows the leader of the Rifts, Cyrus, talking to his second-in-command, Masai, in Van Cortlandt Park.
Okay, all done, guys.
That's great, Rembrandt. Really great. Man, they're gonna be so pissed.
Okay, can we get out of here now? I don't want to be around when they sober up.
Yeah, let's go.
Wait, we haven't found Ajax yet.
There he is.
Hey, where'd you go? What'd you do with my spray?
Don't worry about it. What, you think you're the only one around here with artistic talent? Huh, come on, let's get out of here.
Shit, that was a good party, man. Oh, party. Yeah. Oh, fuck, man. Get the fuck up. Hey, what the fuck? Who drank all my shit? Shit! Let's see what's going on out here. Wait a minute. What the fuck? I've been... The Warriors? The Warriors? I'm gonna kill those fucking Warriors!
Tell me, Masai, what do you see before you?
I see the Van Cortlandt Range's turf.
Turf? Turf ain't nothing but where one gang stops dropping their colors and another gang starts. Lines on a map, that's all turf is. You take away those lines, and you'll see. You'll see the possibilities, the profit, The power.
It's now April 30th, 72 days before the meeting with Cyrus, and things are about to spiral. Vermin and Snow decide to take Ash, one of the newest recruits, out for a night of the town. The destination? The Black Cat. Yeah, the same place Debbie worked back in Cochise' flashback. It's supposed to be a fun night out, but on the train ride there, everything goes dark. Power cuts out mid-transit, leaving the warriors stranded underground in Riverside. They manage to break out of the train and make their way to the surface, only to realize the city's in a full-blown blackout. No lights, no law, just chaos. And just like any crew trying to make the most of a bad situation, the warriors lean into it. The streets are lit up, literally and figuratively, as the blackout turns into a citywide riot. Gangs are out in full force. The Moonrunners, Rogues, Panzers, Savage Huns are just looting, smashing, and wilding out. So what do Vermin, Snow, and Ash do? They jump in. But things turn fast. Riot cops are flooding the area, and the warriors know the fun's over. It's time to get back to Coney before someone gets locked up, or worse. As they make their way towards the train station, they come across a scene. Two rogues getting the beat down of their lives from the baseball Furies. It's brutal, but when the Furies catch sight of the warriors, they shift focus, and now the chase is on. Vermin, Snow, and Ash run through the streets, dodging cops and cracking skulls along the way, barely making it back to the train in time. They escape, boarding the train back to Coney just before the Furies can close in. Meanwhile, in a cutscene, we catch up with Luther and the Rogues. He's back with the crew after somehow slipping away from the Furies. Crosby immediately wants answers. He's asking about Tommy and Patches, the two rogues left behind, but Luther, he brushes it off. Instead, he shows off the loot he scored during the riots, money and stolen goods, grinning like he's untouchable. The city's spiraling, tensions are rising, and the countdown to Cyrus is ticking fast.
Who the hell were those freaks, man?
I don't know, man, but they were some bad mother dudes, man.
They creep me out, man. I just want to get back to Coney, all right?
Yeah, I hear that.
Oh, no, please! Lighten up, man! Come here and check out what I got for us.
Shit, man, we thought you'd be dead. Where's Tommy and Patches?
Who cares? You were getting on my nerves.
Did baseball freaks get him? Why ain't they with you? How'd you get away?
What's with all the questions? Didn't I tell you them wimps don't matter? Besides, I'm okay. And I got some good cash from hawking our loot, man. Come on, Rogues, let's go! Man, I wish those lights stayed off. Biggest raids I've seen in a while. Total mayhem and destruction. Even the suits was getting it on.
It's May 10th, 63 days from the big meeting, and things are getting disrespectful. Back at the Warriors hangout, the DJ is going on her usual rounds, broadcasting the word on the street. But this time, the record scratches. She reports that the orphans from Tremont beat the Warriors. You could hear a pin drop. The room erupts. Everyone knows that's a straight up lie that never happened. Cleon's not letting that slide, and neither is Fox. The two decide to lead a war party stacked with a crew of new bloods straight into Tremont. It's time to see how tough these so-called orphans really are. As soon as the Warriors hit the streets, it's on. They quickly mop the floor with a few stray orphans, and the locals, hobos posted on the block, let them know the crew usually hangs out at the Tremont Clinic. No problem. The Warriors roll up and lay waste to the rest of the orphans hiding out there. Mid-fight, Jesse, the orphan second in command, gets tossed out like last night's trash. He tries to run, but the Warriors chase him down and press him for info. He folds quick. Turns out the rest of the orphans are having a party at the orphanage. Bad timing. The Warriors crash the party hard. No survivors. The orphans get stomped out and humiliated. As the crew gets ready to dip, a familiar voice calls out, "Mercy." She steps out of the shadows and tells them Sully, the leader of the orphans, is hiding out at the local auto shop, working on his car like nothing just went down. Cleon's not leaving unfinished business. The warriors storm the auto shop, but Sully manages to lock himself behind a steel gate like the coward he is. Still, he made one fatal mistake. He left his car wide open. And you already know, the warriors weren't about to let that ride live. The crew tears it apart piece by piece, smashing it to scrap while Sully screams from behind the fence, helpless. With both Sully sobbing and his ego totaled, the warriors walk out of Tremont victorious. But before they leave, Cleon takes a moment to talk to the new bloods, reminding them loud and clear.
Check it, young blood. Always remember, the warriors don't let no one mess with our rep. I don't care if they're orphan or riff. You fuck with us, you get your fucking head split. That's the only way we're gonna come up in this city. Now let's get back to Coney.
And just like that, the warriors fade into the night. Message delivered. It's May 20th, 53 days before the big meeting, and Cleon's got Rembrandt back on burner duty. At the hangout, Cleon tells him to finish what he started. There's a half-tag wall in Coney that needs the warrior's mark, so Rembrandt heads out, fills in the final lines, and when he steps back to admire the piece, something catches his eye. A flyer for the Soho Writers Showdown, hosted by a graffiti legend named Scopes. Rembrandt sees an opportunity. Without hesitation, he signs the warriors up for the contest. But when he returns to the hangout and tells Cleon, the warlord is not pleased. Acting without permission, that's not how the warriors move. Still, after simmering down, Cleon agrees to let Rembrandt rep the set on one condition. He's not going alone. Snow, Cowboy, and Ajax will back him up in Soho. They head out deep into the Hi-Hat's territory. It's tense, but under a truce. The Writers' Showdown is about to begin, and the warriors are ready to make noise. What unfolds is a straight-up turf war, but on canvas. One by one, they out-tag the Electric Eliminators, out-hustle the Moonrunners, and style out the Panzers. The warriors won the contest. Scopes begins to announce the victory, and then chaos hits. Out of nowhere, Scopes gets shoved off some scaffolding. Chatterbox, the Hi-Hat's masked maniacal leader, steps into the spotlight, letting everyone know he doesn't take kindly to outsiders painting up his turf. Suddenly, the truce is dead. The Hi-Hats swarm, turning the celebration into a straight-up ambush, but the warriors aren't going down like that. They scrap their way to the higher ground and pull off a slick counter, knocking over a suspended scaffold and crashing right onto Chatterbox's perch. The gang scatters, but the Hi-Hats aren't done yet. A chase breaks out across the rooftops of Soho. Brick alleys, rusted fire escapes, and neon-lit signs become a gauntlet as the warriors escape, eventually crashing through the roof of Chatterbox's personal art gallery. And if the Hi-Hats weren't mad before, they're mad now. The crew tears up the gallery, tagging it and trashing it before making their way back to Coney Island. But the fight isn't over. As the screen fades, Chatterbox looks on, seething with rage. The warriors just started a whole new beef, one that's gonna leave a tag.
Easy! Watch the damn land, you idiots! And if you wrong us, warriors, shall we not revenge?
It's May 25th, just 48 days before the meeting, and Cleon has some news. Sanchez is back on the streets, fresh out of lockup and still owing the warriors a fat stack of cash. It's time to collect. This time, Ajax is running point. He leads a war party to East Harlem, aiming to find Sanchez and make things right. Or bloody, whichever comes first. As soon as they touch down, the warriors start laying waste to small pockets of hurricanes. The streets are hot, but the real action kicks off when they hit up the Stripes and Solids, a local dive bar. That's where Sanchez is hiding, but he ain't alone. A whole squad of hurricanes is already there, and the bar turns into a battlefield real quick. After scrapping with everyone inside, The owner has had enough. He kicks everybody out, and by the time the dust settles, Sanchez is gone. The crew splits up. Ajax and Cochise go one way, Snow and Rembrandt the other. Ajax and Cochise fight through more hurricanes, tackling Sanchez through back streets and busted buildings before finally cornering him inside a crumbling complex. There, they link back up with Snow and Rembrandt, but before they can claim their payday, two massive brothers, Diego and Vargas, show up, repping the hurricanes like twin tanks. After a hard-hitting showdown, the Warriors drop both of them and finally catch up with Sanchez on the roof. He's got the cash, but it ain't the full amount. He starts making excuses, rambling, sweating, until Ajax asks for it and gives him that signature look. Sanchez panics. One misstep later, he's tumbling off the roof, crashing onto a car below. It's brutal, it's loud, and it's hilarious. At least to Ajax. The Warriors grab what they can and head back to Coney, laughing all the way home. Another debt settled, another day in the life.
Fucking right, man. You see that little wimp fly?
Like air, man, like air.
Yeah.
It's June 4th, just 38 days from the big meeting, and trouble literally crashes through the window. While Cleon, Ajax, Snow, and Rembrandt are chilling in the hangout, a skull comes flying through the glass. No calling card needed. When they look outside, there he is, Chatterbox, flanked by the hi-hats, pulling up on Coney turf. Bold move. Cleon's had enough. He rounds up the crew and hits the streets, linking up with Swan, Vermin, Cowboy, and Fox on the way to Coney's amusement park, where the hi-hats are posted up. As soon as they arrive, Chatterbox starts running his mouth, bragging about how the Warriors are going to pay for trashing his art gallery back in Soho. Then the real show begins. He unleashes a full-on ambush, sending waves of hi-hats to swarm the Warriors on the boardwalk. The Warriors wipe the floor with them. Chatterbox falls back into one of the amusement rides. Cleon doesn't hesitate. He brings Swan, Ajax, and Snow along for the chase. Inside, it's chaos. A few hi-hats are waiting, but they don't last long. Then Cleon flips the switch, and the ride springs to life, sending carts screaming down the tracks. The Warriors have to outrun the ride itself, dodging and weaving their way through until they make it out the other side. But the real fight is still ahead. After clearing another wave of hi-hats, the crew squares up with Cracker Jack, Chatterbox's right-hand man, and his lieutenants. It's a tough battle, but the Warriors push through and finally come face to face with Chatterbox himself. It's personal now. The final fight is long, dirty, and loud, but when the dust settles, Chatterbox is down for good. The feud is finished, Coney stays clean, the hi-hats wanted war, they got one, and lost.
Do you see the possibilities, Masai?
Cyrus, I see. But the armies, how will we call them out to meet? How do we ensure that they come in peace?
We must trust our brothers. We will invite everyone on our network under a night of general truce, and I will speak to them. And they will see you cannot deny the truth.
I warned you, Cyrus. This is not
I
smart.
don't need warnings. I have faith.
It's June 21st, just 21 days from the meeting, and the war for Coney is heating up. Cleon, Swan, Vermin, Snow, and Ash are posted up in the hangout when a civilian bursts in panicked and out of breath. He tells them Charlie, the plumber, is in trouble. No hesitation, the Warriors head straight to Charlie's plumbing store, only to find the place wrecked. Charlie fills them in. Virgil and the Destroyers have been shaking down shopkeepers, telling them the Warriors can't protect Coney anymore, that they run things now. Cleon isn't having it. He sends Snow to rally the rest of the crew and tells Ash to go scout out Tony's fish market, the same place the Destroyers have been circling. Meanwhile, Cleon, Swan, and Vermin head out to collect what is owed, protection money from the locals who stood by them. After hitting up the shops, they regroup with Snow, who says backup is on the way, but Ash is nowhere to be found. Then it all hits the fan. The destroyers hit the main strip, trying to take Coney by force. The warriors hold the line, fighting through waves of destroyers. Then Tony shows up, holding Ash's vest. That's all they need to see. Cleon and Swan rush to the fish market. Inside, they find Ash, wasted, lying there like bait. It was a trap from the jump. They try to pull out, but as soon as they hit the car park, Virgil and the gang of destroyers are waiting. Molotovs in hand, Virgil mocks them, then leaves his boys to finish the job.
Like a rat in a trap. You always thought you were so fucking smart? Waste!
With flames flying and glass shattering around them, Cleon and Swan scramble to break the lock on the gate, dodging explosions the whole way. It's chaos, but they make it out. Barely. Virgil wanted to make a statement, but what he really did was give Cleon one more reason to bury the destroyers for good. It's just hours after Cleon and Swan's narrow escape from the trap at the fish market, and Cleon's had enough. No more warnings, no more sneak attacks. It's time to shut down the destroyers for good. The warriors storm East Coney Island in full force. The crew splits into war parties. Cleon, Vermin, Snow, and Ajax move like a wrecking crew, tearing through the main street and back alleyways with purpose. They torch two shops under destroyer protection, reminding the whole block who really runs Coney now. But they're just getting started. Pushing deeper into enemy turf, they sabotage the destroyers' back-end ops, cracking open stash spots and wrecking everything in sight. They take down Fillmore, a pimp running under Virgil's protection, and lay waste to his crew. Then they level the gang's stolen goods, turning the destroyer's casino pit into rubble, a full-blown statement of war. Word spreads quick. Virgil gets the update from Maggot. Thanks to LC's report, his whole criminal empire is being ripped apart in real time, and while he's barking orders for his soldiers to hold the line, what he doesn't know is the warriors are just getting warmed up.
LC says the warriors are tearing up our stores. They're messing with our money, man. Those stores are under our protection.
Never thought Cleon would get so heavy.
You think I don't know what's going on? You think I'm a knucklehead? I know what's going on. I expect it. Get the fuck out of my face. What you doing, Cleon? What you got planned?
Virgil's last play falls flat. He orders his lieutenants and foot soldiers to hold the line and defend East Coney, but the warriors, they cut through them like butter. Every squad sent their way gets flattened. Every corner of destroyer territory starts falling apart fast. Back at the destroyers' hangout, Virgil knows the walls are closing in. He tells his remaining lieutenants to prep for the final defense, but secretly dips out, telling LC's he's headed to the shack. LC wants to tag along, but Virgil shuts him down. You can feel the panic in his voice. He knows this war is lost and he's trying to disappear. But the warriors aren't bound to let that happen. They storm the destroyer's base, wiping out Lemmy in the courtyard before blasting their way into the hangout itself. What follows is a brutal, chaotic fight. Warriors versus destroyers, no holds barred. Bodies hit the floor, windows get smashed, and the gang's command structure crumbles fast. But Virgil's nowhere to be found. That's when Snow spots LC creeping off in the shadows. Cleon and Vermin tail him quietly, following him to the shack. Once LC reaches the front door, they take him out cold, no hesitation. The time for talk is over. Then comes the final showdown, Cleon versus Virgil. The old crew turn enemies in one room brawl to settle the score. It's raw, personal, and long overdue. After weeks of tension, betrayal, and turf wars, the warriors finally take back Coney.
Virgil, man, open up, it's me, LC.
Vermin, get the door. It's over. You're over, Virgil.
It's over. It's over. It's over when I say so, you dumb shit. How many of you boys do I gotta kill before you realize who's the boss? I'm the boss, fucker!
Let's get into it.
As the fight between Cleon, Vermin, and Virgil hits its boiling point, the shack around them becomes a death trap, set ablaze by Virgil's own Molotov madness. Flames dance in every corner, but Cleon and Vermin keep swinging. It's in the heat of all, literally, they beat Virgil down, leaving him broken on the floor. There's a short moment of silence, a stare between former friends turned bitter rivals. Then Cleon pulls a pin on poetic justice, tosses a Molotov straight at Virgil's body. The scream that follows is drowned by the roar of the flames. It's over. Cleon and Vermin step out from the burning shack, scared but victorious. Ash has been avenged, the destroyer's finished, and just like that, the long bloody war between Cleon and Virgil finally comes to a fiery end.
Fuck you, Copperhead. I'm the boss. You was nothing. You was nothing before me. Nothing!
Open your eyes, motherfucker. You ain't nothing but ashes.
It's now 12 days before the meeting with Cyrus. Inside the Warriors' hangout, the radio crackles with tense energy. The DJ reports that a cop has been wasted in Pelham, and now a gang curfew is officially in effect. While the city clamps down, Cleon's focus is elsewhere. Fox and Snow were last seen scouting Pelham. Cleon sent them out to get eyes on what Cyrus might be planning, but the silence is making him nervous. He dispatches Cochise, Vermin, and Cowboy to check on their status. Upon arriving at the Pelham subway platform, the war party finds the place locked tight. Cops are crawling the area. Thinking fast, the Warriors shove a Turnbull AC member into an oncoming train, setting off chaos and drawing the heat. As the cops rush the platform, the Warriors slip away and head towards the Rift's underground gambling club. Outside the club, a lone Rift guards the door. Cochise asks if he's seen any Warriors pass through. The Rift says he might know something, but info comes with a price. The crew scrambles around Pelham, hustling for cash however they can. Once they've had enough, they return and the Rift spills it. When the cops raided the place, everyone scattered into a dive bar called the Red Devil. Getting there, though, won't be easy. The Rift suggests the sewer tunnels, but they're sealed. The crew finds some bolt cutters and hacks their way into the underground, and even manages to recruit a few sewer hobos to help them navigate the maze of tunnels. Down in the muck, they run into a wall of Turnbull ACs. After brawling through, they overhear Birdie, a wheelchair-bound Turnbull lieutenant, bragging about wasting 2 gang members earlier. Just ahead, they find the bodies of Fox and Snow, battered and barely hanging on. The war party revives them with Flash. Groggy but alert, the two explain what went down. They followed a crowd from the gambling club to the Red Devil, but Birdie sent his boys after them and they got jumped hard. Cochise looks to Cowboy and tells him to escort Fox and Snow back to Coney and bring back some serious help. Pelham's turning into a war zone and the Warriors are knee deep in it.
Oh shit, man.
Those fucking bastard ACs.
What happened? Who did this to you? The Rift Club got raided and everyone ran. So we followed the crowd up to the Devils and this wheelchair motherfucker gets his boys to lay into us. Name's Birdie, a Turnbull lieutenant.
We didn't find out nothing about what Cyrus got going down either.
Don't worry about it. Cowboy, take Snow and Fox back to Coney and get some soldiers down here too.
So what do we do now?
We gonna wait.
Huh?
So, I hear you ladies need some help wasting a cripple.
His boys are partying up in the Devil. Let's get in there. Where the fuck is Birdie?
Fuck you!
The Reinforcements arrive, and now the warriors are rolling deep. They storm into the Red Devil, tearing through the Turnbull ACs like it's a wrecking crew. Even the resident band, the Angry Cocks, get wasted in the chaos. Once the bar is cleared out, the bartender, shaken but still standing, tells them Birdie ain't here. He's holed up at the local refinery. With no time to lose, the warriors head straight into the refinery. From above, they spot Birdie posted up with his brother and a crew of construction goons, running his mouth in hotting heat. Kochi steps forward to announce their arrival, but Birdie doesn't say a word. He opens fire. The crew dives for cover, but as they move, a bridge gives out, separating Kochi's from the rest. Pinned down, the warriors scramble to fight back, resorting to chucking anything they can find, cans, bricks, and scrap at Birdie's cover. The pressure mounts, and eventually, one clean hit knocks Birdie to the edge. A final throw sends him tumbling off the ledge. Cochise walks up and sneers, telling Birdie if he wants revenge, he can crawl all the way to Coney to get it. The crew leads pell him victorious. Cut to the Rift Dojo, where Cyrus, ever focused and calm, leads his men through martial arts drills. A rift interrupts to report the warriors just wasted Birdie, and now the Turnbull ACs are out for blood. But Cyrus ain't sweating it. He tells the messenger to keep tabs on the warriors, but warns no retaliation. Not yet. There's a bigger plan at play, and the warriors just stepped deeper into it.
Yeah, you can crawl down to Coney if you got something to say, fool. Come on, we're done here. Let's go.
Birdie got wasted by some small-time outfit from Coney. The ACs are looking for retribution.
No, there will be no retribution. Unity and peace is what matters. What is the name of this outfit?
The Warriors.
They aren't on our network, but I want you to keep an eye on them. They may prove useful.
It's July 3rd, 9 days until the meeting, and Cleon's making moves. He's been talking to the Sarians, a respected gang out of Bensonhurst. They've been having trouble with their rivals, the Jones Street Boys, and Cleon sees an opportunity to help the Sarians now, and then maybe the Warriors can earn a spot at the Rift's network. So Cleon sends Cowboy and Cochise out to Bensonhurst to represent. They link up with Edge, who's the Sarians' warlord, who breaks it down. The Jones Street Boys have been butting up with dirty cops, making life a living hell for the rest of the gang. Edge's plan? Frame the Jones Street Boys and let the pigs eat their own. Once Edge and his crew bounce, Cowboy and Cochise get to work. They start raiding storefronts, ripping out car radios and looting every corner of Bensonhurst. With bags of stolen goods, they plant some in a nearby cop car and stash the rest inside a Jones Street Boys hangout. Then, as planned, they bump into two of the crooked cops. Cowboy spins a story, claims the Jones Street Boys are running a resale hustle night under their noses. The cops, greedy and pissed they're not getting a cut, storm off and burst into Knox, the Jones Street Boys leader. But karma moves quick. The cops get busted too, when officers Harrison and Garrison find the stolen loot in their own trunk. Before leaving, Cowboy and Cochise run into Edge one last time. He thanks them for the help and promises to put in a good word with the Rifts. The Warriors just earned some real street cred and a step closer to that big meeting in the Bronx.
Just heard the Jones Street Boys has some kind of heavy setup. Selling shit real cheap out of their digs.
Oh, is that so? Then why are you telling us?
Those assholes ripped me off, so fuck them. Who needs them?
Okay, we'll take care of it. Now get out of here. We see you in the streets again, we'll bust you. Yeah, we'll bust you. Those dirty little pricks. They're holding out on us? Let's go bust their asses.
So much for those JSBs. Let's go see how this plays out.
I'm telling you, we never saw any of that shit before. We were framed! Look, man, we wouldn't rip you guys off. We ain't stupid. Come on, man, we got a good arrangement going on here. You don't want to do this shit.
What kind of arrangement are we talking about here?
Garrison. This punk is talking crazy. Must have been sniffing glue. We'll take him in.
Open the trunk, Judas.
What? You guys got a lot of nerve,
Now!
too.
Well. Just like we thought. You're under arrest.
Hey, look,
Get it,
I got
pal.
no idea how that
You're going downtown.
Hey, this is bullshit. Come on, you're arresting good cops here. Hey!
Hey. What's up, Edge?
Those rich kids are pretty much finished.
Yeah, thanks. You guys got a pretty heavy set. You know, we've been thinking about inviting you in on this meeting Cyrus is holding. Some serious shit. Only the toughest crews will be there. I think the Warriors deserve it.
We ain't heard much about that. But we ain't really on the Rift's network either. You think we can get in on it, huh? We've been making some waves on the street lately. Got a pretty solid rep going now.
We'll see, Warrior. Saracens will back you up. We got a fair bit of pull with the Gramercy Rifts. So maybe, man, I hope, for your sake. Who knows what the streets will be like after that shit.
Solid, man. We appreciate it.
We are now 12 days before the meeting. Cleon tells Rembrandt that it's time to take the gang all city. Cleon leads Rembrandt, Snow, and Fox to meet up with Scopes at the train yard. We then see Cyrus spreading the word about his meeting.
We need to spread the word. We must reach out into every corner, cross every border, and convey our message, our motive. And it must be with respect, not force, that they accept our invitation. As this word spreads, and possibility enters the minds of all the city's gangs, then this message, this wisdom, will begin to make sense. There's no other way. This is our destiny, and this is our will. Now go let all the gangs know about the truce. Forget no one under our network. No more than 9 delegates may attend from any given gang. And on this day, I want no action. No soldier will carry a shank, a bat, a brick, a stick, or a gun. Now go, Masai, and let our troops know what must be done.
Yeah, we'll be there. We're going to a party, man. Drive! Yeah.
We're back with the Warriors, and this time they're meeting up with Scopes. He lets them know that Rembrandt should be able to tag up the brand new train sitting in the yard, but there's a catch. This whole area, Moonrunners territory, and they don't exactly appreciate graffiti artists. After Cleon and Scope split, the war party moves in. Rembrandt hits the first tag, and Fox sets off to scout the next batch of trains. While he's gone, Rembrandt and Snow start clearing out Moonrunners, dismantling their turf one scuffle at a time. They even destroy the yard security's radio, which seemed like a solid move, until it wasn't. Fox returns with direction to the next 3 trains, and Rembrandt and Snow knock them out one by one. As they regroup, Scopes runs back in with bad news. Smashing that radio just alerted the cops, and they're already closing in. There's no time to waste. Rembrandt finishes up the final 2 tags, and the crew dips before the law can catch up. Later that night, Rembrandt and Scopes catch a glimpse of a train rolling by, marked with the Warriors tag. That tag ain't just paint, it's proof. Proof the Warriors made their mark in the city. And now, it's July 12th. The countdown is over. Welcome to Gun Hill, and from here on out, we are deep in the events of the movie. The Warriors make their way to the Van Cortlandt Park, summoned by none other than Cyrus and the Rifts. The conclave is massive. Every gang in the city, all in one place, all hanging on Cyrus's vision. One gang, one city, no turf wars, no cops, just unity. But as Cyrus is preaching the dream, it all comes crashing down. A single shot, a single betrayal. Cyrus drops, wasted by Luther. the snake-tongued leader of the rogues. Chaos erupts, the dream's dead, and the warriors, they're about to have the longest nights of their lives.
Can you count, suckers? I say the future is ours. If you can count.
Come on, Cyrus, we're with you! Go ahead, bro!
Now look what we have here before us. We've got the Saracens sitting next to the Jones Street boys. We've got the Moon Runners right by the Van Cortlandt Rangers. Nobody is wasting nobody. That is a miracle. And miracles is the way things ought to be. You're standing right now with 9 delegates from 100 gangs. And there's over 100 more. 60,000 soldiers. Now there ain't but 20,000 police in the whole town. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Now here's the sum total. One gang could run this city. One gang. Nothing would move without us allowing it to happen. We could tax the crime syndicates, the police, because we got the streets, suckers! Can you dig it? The problem in the past has been the man turning us against one another. We have been unable to see the truth because we have been fighting for 10 square feet of ground. All we have to do is keep up the general truce. We take over one borough at a time. Secure our territory. Secure our turf. Because it's all our turf.
He's the one! He's the one! The warrior's
Everybody make it?
Just Cleon's missing.
Make sure we're okay. Did you see him get busted?
I seen him, then he wasn't there no more. I was hauling ass.
Okay, so what are we gonna do now?
We're going back. If this truce is off, anything could hit us between here and that train. If you get separated, make it back to the platform at Union Square.
I only got one question. Who named you leader?
It was Cleon's choice, Swan's war chief.
Yeah? Well, right about now, Cleon's most likely got a nightstick shoved halfway up his ass.
Maybe we ought to talk about this later, huh?
What's wrong with right now? I want to be warlord.
Make you move?
Hey, Ajax, lighten up.
Big boy, Swan's war chief.
We better stick together.
Hey, you guys! Train's right over there! Come on, let's go!
Let's move. Rembrandt, mark the spot.
Hey, guys! Wait for me!
Freeze!
Split up!
Hey, you! Get over here! Riffs! Yeah, right! Who are the warriors? There must be some word. I want them all. I want all the warriors. I want them alive, if possible, if not, wasted. But I want them. Send the word.
After the meeting ends in chaos, with Cyrus gone and Cleon taken out in the confusion, we catch up with Swan and Snow, who have been separated from the rest of the warriors. Snow spots a nearby tag. It's the Turnbull AC's mark, and that means one thing: they're deep in enemy territory. Navigating the streets of Gun Hill, the duo pushes forward, eventually saving Ajax and Vermin from the clutches of the Turnbulls. Once they are reunited, the four battle through a heavy wave of Turnbull soldiers, but the worst is yet to come. Just as things calm down, a Turnbull bus barrels down the street, forcing the warriors to book it, dodging patrols and weaving through cover to avoid getting flattened. And right when you think they're in the clear, the bus returns for round two, tearing through the streets like a predator on wheels. Eventually, the crew manages to lose the ACs and reach the subway, boarding a train that they pray will take them back to Coney Island. But this night is far from over.
Hold the fucking train! Hold the door, man! Hold the door! Shit! Hurry! Close it! Those were some desperate dudes.
So was we.
Yeah, well, we made it.
And in an hour, it's CI, the big Coney.
Yeah, give me that fist, buddy.
Yeah.
When we get there, that's when we've made it.
Hey, no sweat, War Chief.
Now forget about it. What's the difference? We're home free.
Be looking good, warriors. All the way back to Coney. You hear me, babies? Good. Real good. Adios.
The following day at 1:52 a.m., a Rift Scout reports back to Masai. The Turnbull ACs failed to catch the warriors. Meanwhile, a cutscene shifts focus to Luther and the rogues, causing a ruckus inside a convenience store. When a clerk asks Luther to pay, he snaps, reminding her just how unpredictable he really is. Back with the warriors, their train is suddenly derailed. A fire in the subway station forces them to stop in Tremont, deep in orphan territory. Swan and Fox try to keep things calm and parley with Sully, the insecure leader of the orphans. But when Sully's girl questions his manhood fled in the warriors' past, his ego gets the best of him. He demands that they take off their vests. Swan, he doesn't budge. Sully storms off to round up the rest of his boys while the warriors keep moving through the streets. Eventually, they run into Sully and a mob of orphans, but they fight their way through and press on, only to run headfirst into a police blockade. Things go south fast. Cochise and Vermin get cuffed. Fox and Cowboy are wasted. Ajax is mid-brawl with the electric eliminators, and Rembrandt is lying low in the shadows. One by one, Swan regroups with his crew. They're joined by Mercy, who starts tailing the group, though her timing is questionable. Just as tensions rise, Sully sends in another ambush squad, but Swan's ready. He hurls a Molotov cocktail at a nearby car, lighting up the night and clearing a path. In the chaos, the Warriors and Mercy escape on to the next train, bound for Union Square. This war is far from over.
Okay, what do you got in mind?
Well, maybe I'm looking for some real action.
What about me? I got the big one.
You gonna jump me?
Maybe we ought to pull a train on you. You look like you might even like it.
Fuck you!
Real tough chick.
You see what you get, Warriors? You see what you get when you mess with the orphans?
We're gonna rain on you, Warriors! Yeah!
Now!
Wait a minute. I got a question. How come we're running?
I told you, they were a bunch of wimps.
Union Station, here we come.
Hey, what about me?
So what about you?
It's been a few hours since the last brush with death, and the Warriors are laying low at 96th Street Station, hoping to ride it out. But when things seem calm, the cops show up. Panic sets in. The Warriors scatter, each going their own way to escape the heat. In the chaos, Mercy manages to slip away, but Fox isn't so lucky. While wrestling with an officer, Fox gets shoved near the edge and loses his grip. In a brutal moment, he falls onto the tracks and is killed by an oncoming train. No music, no dramatics, just cold hard reality. Vermin, Cochise, and Rembrandt manage to duck the cops and board a train headed towards Union Square, regrouping under pressure. Meanwhile, Swan, Snow, Ajax, and Cowboy try to escape through the streets of Riverside, but that's when things take a sharp turn. Out of the shadows emerges the Baseball Furies, one of the most feared and visually striking gangs in the city. Painted faces, pinstripes, and wooden bats, these guys don't play around. They give chase. The Warriors are forced to run for their lives to Riverside Park. The night isn't over yet. It's only getting more dangerous.
I can't make it.
Good. I'm sick of running from these wimps. I'll shove that bat up your ass and turn you into a popsicle.
Inside Riverside Park, Ajax gets caught in a brawl with the Furies, holding his own just long enough for Swan and Snow to show up and help him and Cowboy fight off the rest. Together, they bring down the crew, but the night's not over. As they try to make their way to the next station with the gang runs into Cobb, the Furies leader, posted up in Riverside Park Rotunda. What follows is one of the toughest fights of the night, but the Warriors manage to waste Cobb and the remaining Furies standing in their way. But just when things seem calm, Ajax spots a lone woman lingering nearby. Instead of sticking with the crew, he approaches her, cocky and aggressive. Turns out she's an undercover cop, and within moments, Ajax is cuffed and slammed into the back of a squad car. Snow and Cowboy double back, but all they can do is watch, helpless, as their brother gets taken off the board. One wrong move, and Ajax pays the price.
Look at those muscles. I bet the chicks like all those muscles. You want to show me how you play with the chicks?
Yeah, I'll show you how I play.
Hey, not so rough. Come on. We'll get it on.
You don't get it. I don't like it rough.
Your nights in the park are over for a while, honey. You're under arrest.
Hey, lady. Come on, lady.
Kiss my ass.
You can't do this to me. Let me out of this. You hear me? Quit playing around. You don't want to play around with me. Oh. Fucking wimp.
Hey, we better go back and look out for him.
He saved my ass lots of times. I owe him.
Okay. I'll go look for the others.
Hey, what do we got here, huh? One of the tough guys from the Bronx? Yeah, he's tough. Real tough.
While Swan, Snow, Cowboy, and Ajax were busy playing baseball in the park with the Furies, we cut back to Rembrandt, Vermin, and Cochise, who finally arrive at Union Square, but before they can breathe, they run into trouble dressed up in lipstick. The Lizzies, an all-female gang with a seductive smile and a hidden agenda. The Lizzies flirt and lure the Warriors back to the hangout, where things kick off like a low-key after-party. But that vibe flips quick. Midway through the hang, the girls pull out handguns and knives, ready to waste the Warriors on sight, believing they're the ones who killed Cyrus. Rembrandt, Cochise, and Vermin fight their way out, barely escaping with their lives. Once outside, Rembrandt connects the dots. The Lizzies knew. Word's already out. All New York gangs thinks the Warriors pulled the trigger, and now every street in the city is hunting them down. They head back to Union Square, hoping the rest of the gang made it. But one thing's clear. This isn't just survival anymore. This is war.
They think we shot Cyrus. What are you talking about? I don't get it. They think we shot Cyrus. Every gang in the city must be looking for us.
Holy shit.
We're not gonna be able to make it back.
We're gonna make it back. We came this far and we're gonna go the rest of the way. Let's go to Union Square, okay? We gotta tell the rest of the guys.
Swan's on the move, navigating the station solo, when Mercy catches up to him. The two share a quick exchange, Swan trying to keep things business as usual, but Mercy's not about to fade into the background. She tags along the way, and turns out she's got eyes on more than just him. She warns Swan that she's being followed by Vance and the punks, but Swan's already clocked it. When the rest of the Warriors regroup, Swan leads them into a nearby subway bathroom, setting the stage for one of the movie's most iconic ambushes. Stalls fly open, fists fly harder. The Warriors take it to the punks and leave them wasted on their own turf, catching the next train back to Coney Island. Meanwhile, with the Gramercy rifts, Masai is introduced to a witness, someone who claims to have seen what went down that night Cyrus got shot. As the Warriors ride home, they briefly cross paths with two prom couples. The couples freeze, clearly shaken by the bruised, bloody look of Swan and Mercy. They bounce without a word. That little moment, it says it all. The Warriors may be heading home, but nothing is ever going back to normal.
What about our patrols?
So far, nothing. But we've got somebody here you ought to talk to. He says he saw who shot Cyrus.
Big Cyrus. He was gonna run the whole city. What crap that was.
Cyrus was right about one thing. It's all out there. All we gotta do is figure out a way to go steal it.
Sounds great. Now all we gotta do is figure out what's worth stealing.
Let's go get breakfast or something. Come on, this way.
We're finally back in Coney Island. The Warriors make it home, but peace doesn't last long. Luther and the Rogues are waiting. Rolling up in their hearse, they chase the Warriors down through their own backyard, but Swan's crew manages to shake them, regrouping beneath the boardwalk with the ocean at their backs. The Rogues pull up, and Luther starts running his mouth again, unhinged as ever. Swan doesn't take the bait. Instead, he walks into the sand and stares him down. He asks him why did he waste Cyrus, and Luther just laughs and says there's no reason, he just likes doing things like that. And just like that, it's on. Swan challenges him to a one-on-one. No gimmicks, no backup. Swan takes him down clean. But Luther, typical for a coward, pulls out a gun and starts shooting. That's when the Warriors fight back. Bottles fly, blood spills. Swan ends it with style, hurling a switchblade straight into Luther's wrist. And then everything comes full circle. Masai and the Rift show up, deep and ready. The truth is out. Luther was the one who wasted Cyrus. Masai nods in respect towards the Warriors, grants them safe passage, and turns his fury on the Rogues. Justice comes swift. As the Warriors walk away into the sunrise, the DJ lifts the alert and puts some respect on their name. Coney's quiet again. Swan and Mercy start a new chapter, and the Warriors, they made it home. Not just as survivors, but as legends.
Still looking for us? We found what we're looking for.
No, it wasn't us. Sam, the Warriors.
You Warriors are good. Real good. Best. The rest is ours.
Good news, boppers. The big alert has been called off. It turns out that the early reports were wrong. All wrong. Now for that group out there that had such a hard time getting home. Sorry about that. I guess the only thing we can do is play you a song.
Okay, so when it comes to the Warriors game, what really stands out isn't just that it retells the events of the movie and makes them interactive. It's that it expands on them. The film is only 84 minutes long, and Cleon, he only gets about 16 minutes of screen time. But in the game, we actually get a backstory. We get to experience his rise, his split from the Destroyers, and the formation of the Warriors. The game fleshes out his character in a way the movie simply didn't have time for. Character growth was clearly a priority here.
Had enough of this shit. Let's go talk to Virgil. Fuck out. Virgil, you son of a bitch, get your ass down here.
Hey, Cleon. How'd the deal go? You backstabbing punk! Hey! You guys know better than rip off them Satan mothers.
We was brothers, man. We were supposed to make things happen.
You don't think I see you, Cleon? You don't think I know you trying to make moves behind my back? Trying to muscle me out of the way?
You paranoid fuck! You just started a war, and I'm gonna be the last motherfucker you see before it's over.
You crazy, man! You in what fucking army?
You gonna see, bro. You gonna see.
Now, look at Ajax. The game gives us his origins, how he joined the crew, his attitude, and how he handles situations. And the wild part, his arc in the game mirrors how he goes out in the movie. He's reckless, always chasing something he shouldn't, and that lust over duty mindset is exactly what gets him caught later on. So, yeah, it's not just about development, it's about consistency. Every character feels like themselves. Cleon feels like Cleon, Swan feels like Swan, Ajax feels like Ajax. That level of character authenticity is rare in movie tie-ins.
And every time it happens,
Whoa. Hey, Snow. Do me a favor and wait for me a second, will ya? I got one more thing to take care of here. Huh?
Oh, man.
you want your eyes.
What's even more impressive is how Rockstar took an 84-minute cult classic from 1979 and turned it into a full-fledged game 26 years later and made it feel fresh. When you look where New York was in 2005 versus where it was in the late 70s, the contrast is wild. The city had gone bankrupt in the mid-70s, and the urban decay that followed was what So Yuri tapped into when writing the original novel. The game doesn't just adapt the film, it revives that historical context and brings it to life. So now we've got a cult classic layered with historical relevance turned into a gritty, immersive video game. And the way it's structured, you get to experience how the Warriors formed, how each member joined, and what led up to the big meeting with Cyrus, and then the events of the movie itself. If you hadn't seen the film, you might not even realize this was a movie tie-in. That's how well the game stands on its own. There are 23 missions total, and the first half of them is just building up to the meeting with Cyrus. It's about laying the foundation, tying up loose ends, giving characters real depth. You see someone like Cleon take out Virgil, then flash back to see why that moment matters. It's a form of reverse storytelling that works flawlessly. The payoff hits harder because the game earns it.
Fuck you, Copperhead. I'm the boss. You was nothing. You was nothing before me. Nothing!
Open your eyes, motherfucker. You ain't nothing but ashes.
What's really cool is how the game brings the movie world to life in a way that feels complete. If you've seen The Warriors, you'll remember that scene where Cyrus starts naming all the gangs. Well, in the game, you actually see them. The Boppers, the Moonrunners, the Orphans, the Baseball Furies. You're not just told they exist, you get to experience them. It's one thing to reference them in a film, it's another thing to make them playable. Interactive parts of a living, breathing world. The game expands the mythology of the Warriors in a way that the film didn't have time to do. And what's crazy is that this story mode is a blueprint for how to properly do a movie tie-in. We've had plenty of them over the years. Chronicles of Narnia, Spider-Man, you name it. But the Warriors stands apart. There was something special about it. Dan Houser always believed this film could translate into a game. And he was right. Watching the movie, you might recognize the Warriors by face, maybe remember a few names. But after playing the game, you know every member like they're your crew. Cleon, Swan, Cochise, Cowboy, Snow, Ajax, Rembrandt, Vermin, Fox. They're no longer just background players. They've got backstories, personalities, motivations. The game gives them depth, and because of that, the movie ends up feeling bigger. It doesn't just change the film, it enhances it. The character design and casting are dead on faithful to the original movie. Every major character holds true to what fans remember. Cyrus still commands from Gramercy Park. Luther, true to form, runs with the rogues out of a hearse. The Baseball Furies hold down Riverside Park. The Lizzies lurk in their apartment trap. And every smaller gang is scattered throughout New York. Just like in the film. Every piece connects. Everything ties in. And honestly, if you played the game, chances are you've definitely seen the movie, or you were convinced to watch it after playing. That's how strong the tie-in is. This wasn't just a cash grab. The Warriors is the definition of how to do a movie tie-in right. Watching the film and playing the game together becomes one full circle experience. Alright, let's talk about how the Warriors actually plays. This isn't just a quick cash in on a cult classic, it's a full-blown beat 'em up with layers. From the moment you start the tutorial with Rembrandt, you're thrown into a gritty, hands-on world that bleeds 1970s New York. Rockstar didn't just recreate the movie's tone, they immersed you into it. This game is mission-based and mostly linear, but don't get it twisted. There's plenty to do between objectives. You're thrown into turf wars, heists, brawls, graffiti contests, and even wild chases throughout the city. And while it's not open world in the GTA sense, the levels are big enough to explore and they never feel repetitive. The Warriors Hangout acts as your main hub, where you can train, talk to your crew, or take on side missions in Coney Island. And yeah, working out in HQ actually improves your stamina. That's detail. Combat is the star of the show. This is a no guns, no glamour kind of game. Just fists, bottles, bricks, bats, whatever you can get your hands on. The core system is simple. Light attacks, heavy attacks, grabs, and throws. But each character also has a unique power move, and once you build up your rage meter, you can go off with brutal finishing combos. It's gritty, it's dirty, and it feels raw, just like Street Fighting should. Now, the depth comes from the little things. Spray painting your tag over enemy turf, mugging civilians for cash or flash, looting car radios, helping locals unlock new abilities like cuff keys, brass knuckles, and even police takedowns. And if a teammate goes down, you can bring them back with flash. So the squad dynamics matter. You'll switch between warriors across different missions: Swan, Cleon, Ajax, Rembrandt, Cowboy, Snow, Coaching, Fox. And while they share similar mechanics, their personalities and dialogue give them life. Ajax is aggressive, Rembrandt is cautious, and they'll react differently to the same situations. That kind of voice-driven character nuance, rare for a 2005 brawler. This game also includes 5 flashback missions that flesh out how each warrior joined the crew, and once you beat the main story, you unlock Armies of the Night, a 2D side-scroller beat 'em up straight out of Double Dragon or Streets of Rage. It's a love letter to retro gaming and fits right in. Every level scored is based on how well you fight, loot, and complete bonus objectives, and that replay value is legit. With 23 missions in total, collectibles, training upgrades, and rumble mode, there's a lot to dig into. Now, is the combat the deepest out there? No, but it's fun. And a variety of scenarios from jailbreaks to rooftop ambushes keeps things fresh. And the atmosphere, top tier. From the soundtrack to the voice acting, which even brought back some of the original cast, this game feels like The Warriors. Bottom line, this isn't just a good movie tie-in. It's the blueprint for how to do one right. Gritty, detailed, faithful, and fun from start to finish. You even get to do stealth section, which was definitely uncommon for a beat 'em up around this time. Visually, The Warriors nails the vibe. This is 1979 New York through a grimy, busted lens. Every alley, rooftop, and subway tunnel feels soaked in dirt and danger. It's not just going for hyper-realism, it's going for style, and it works. The character models aren't always perfect, but they're recognizable, especially the core crew and the rival gangs. And there's something satisfying about finishing a fight and seeing your warrior bruised up and bloodied still standing. What's impressive is how fluid the game runs. Even with a dozen enemies on screen, there's no noticeable lag or frame drops. The city feels alive, from neon lights flickering in the distance to the grime on the streets. Each gang has its own visual identity, and each level looks distinct. Whether it's the sleaze of Soho, the concrete jungle of the Bronx, you always feel like you're somewhere dangerous. Now, let's talk about sound, because Rockstar didn't slack here either. The soundtrack pulls heavily from the film, including Barry DeVoisin's legendary theme. That track alone sets the tone every time it hits. But it's not just nostalgia. They built around it with ambient noise that pulls you deeper into the city. You'll hear trains rattling overhead, gang members shouting from alleys, and even the thud of fists against flesh. It's all crisp and aggressive. The voice acting deserves its own props. A good chunk of the original cast came back to reprise their roles in the shows. It doesn't just sound like a knockoff or a cheap dub. It sounds authentic. Every line hits with the weight of its character, from Cleon's calm leadership to Ajax's unfiltered aggression. It's like watching the movie, but now you're in control. If you're a completionist, The Warriors has plenty of meat on the bone. No diddy. The main story will run you about 10 to 15 hours, but that's just the surface. Side missions, flashback chapters, collectibles, upgrades, and unlocking all characters in Rumble mode can easily push to 20 hours or more. And the real value, it's just fun to come back to. The combat never really gets old, especially once you start experimenting with different warriors and pushing for high scores in each level. Whether you're revisiting for nostalgia or jumping in for the first time, The Warriors is worth the replay. This isn't a tribute to the movie, it's a full fleshed out experience that stands on its own feet. All in all, The Warriors delivers way more than anyone expected from a movie tie-in. It's gritty, it's immersive, and it respects the source material while expanding on it in meaningful ways. The combat is raw, the environments ooze atmosphere, and the character work adds real depth to the game we only briefly got to know in the film. Whether you're a fan of beat 'em ups, the original movie, or just looking for a hidden gem of the PS2 era, this one, it earns its rep. Both the Xbox and PS2 ports of the Warriors dropped on October 17, 2005 for North American markets and October 21st, 2005 for European markets. We are going to start with the Xbox port. On the technical side, the Xbox version flexes some muscle. It supports 720p, progressive scan, and comes with sharper textures and more detailed models. Visually, it's the cleanest looking version of the game, but that clarity comes with a trade-off. Some players felt the colors looked washed out, giving the characters an almost pale appearance when compared to the more saturated PS2 version. A small but noticeable perk is the headphone setting in the audio menu. Unique to this version, it adds a touch more of immersion for those gaming with a headset. Aside from these tweaks, the content is identical to the PS2. Full story mode, unlockables, and co-op action. Just like its rival port, Xbox supports drop-ins, drop-out multiplayer, making it a solid choice for couch co-op. The PS2 version is often considered the definitive edition, not because it's the most powerful, but because it nails the tone. The color palette is richer, adding grit and personality to the environments and characters. It's also the only version with loading screen music, which adds that 1970s grindhouse vibe that Rockstar was aiming for. Controls are tight and responsive, with the DualShock 2 making brawling feel smooth and deliberate. The visuals might not match Xbox in raw fidelity, but they deliver atmosphere in spades. It's the most balanced package overall, gritty, stylish, and unfiltered. The PSP port dropped on February 12, 2007 for North American markets and February 23, 2007 for European markets. The PSP version brought the Warriors to handhelds thanks to Rockstar leads. While it's impressive for the platform, there are noticeable compromises. The reduced controls make for a clunkier experience, especially when it comes to dodging camera work and executing precise combos. Some features got trimmed, civilians and background characters were cut, and some missions have adjusted enemy counts, and the Armies of the Night minigame is unlocked by default. There's no online play, only ad hoc multiplayer, and drop-in, drop-out co-op is gone. That said, the core story, combat mechanics, and Rockstar Edge are still intact, making this a respectable port for fans who want to throw down on the go. When the Warriors dropped in 2005, it didn't just surprise players. It caught critics off guard too. This wasn't just another quick movie cash grab. It actually delivered. The game received strong reviews across the board, with critics praising its deep combat system, grimy atmosphere, and how it took the original film's vibe and made it interactive. One of the biggest compliments the game received was how well it captured the tone of the movie. Game Informer straight up said it might be the best game adaptation of a film ever in terms of recreating the mood of the source material. Everything from the character designs to the city layout screamed late 70s New York, and critics loved how the game didn't just copy the movie. It expanded it with a full-blown prequel story that gave real context to the crew. Gameplay-wise, Reviewers liked the depth of combat for a brawler, especially with the ability to use environmental weapons, tag graffiti, and commit petty crimes like stealing car stereos or mugging civilians. They liked how it wasn't just punch, punch, kick the whole way through. There was a variety with stealth missions, chases, and team based mechanics that kept things fresh. But it wasn't perfect. Some critics felt the combat, while brutal and satisfying, could get chaotic and sluggish, especially when the screen got packed with enemies. Game Informer pointed out that things could get hard to follow in co-op without the split screen feature, and even then, the field of view was pretty narrow. The AI wasn't always the smartest, and camera angles could be a little stubborn during tight fights. Still, for every nitpick, there was a heap of praise. The voice acting was widely applauded, with many of the original cast returning to reprise their roles. The soundtrack, especially that iconic Barry Devorazin theme, got so much love that the game even landed a nomination for Outstanding Achievement in Soundtrack. Sites like IGN gave it an 8.7, GameSpot landed a 8.6, and Metacritic scores hovered in the mid-80s across all platforms. Even outlets like 1UP, who admitted the game had its flaws, still called it a treat for fans and praised the bonus content, multiplayer rumbles, and solid co-op mode. The consensus was clear. This game did justice to the movie in a way that few adaptations ever do. Whether it was the stylized world, the fan service, or just the raw, satisfying brawling, the Warriors earned its respect. And for a beat-em-up release on the PS2 era, that's saying a lot. Now, when it comes to the Warriors, critics weren't the only ones weighing in. Players had a lot to say, and depending on who you asked, this was either a hidden gem or a total swing and a miss. What's interesting is how divided the community was. For every fan that called it one of the best beat-em-ups of the PS2 era, there was another who couldn't look past the flaws. So let's break it down. A lot of fans loved what Rockstar pulled off. To them, this wasn't just a movie tie-in, it was a full-fledged expansion of the Warriors universe. These players praised the game for its story-driven prequel missions, gritty combat, and how well it control every member of the gang. From Cleon's rise to Ajax's rage-fueled moments, the game gave fans what they wanted: more Warriors. They liked how the combat felt raw and unpolished on purpose, and every fight looked like something out of a dirty street brawl. One player even said the bloodied up characters, constant tension, and voice acting made you feel like you were living in the film. The replay value, collectibles, and free roaming side missions in Coney Island added even more to the mix. And for fans of the movie, that was enough to call it a cult classic in a game form. But not everybody saw it that way. Some players enjoyed the world and the aesthetic, but felt the gameplay itself didn't hold up. They pointed out issues with the AI being either useless or overpowered depending on the situation. The combat, while stylish and brutal, was described by some as shallow and overly reliant on button mashing. Big brawls could turn into visual chaos, and the controls weren't always responsive as they should have been, especially when trying to lock on to enemies or use items quickly. Certain missions, especially near the end, felt repetitive or anticlimactic. Boss fights relied heavily on throwing mechanics, and that got old fast. For these players, the game's appeal started strong but ran out of steam before the credits rolled. Then there were players who sat somewhere in the middle. They liked the vibe, the story, and the nostalgia factor, but admitted the game was clunky in spots. They praised the character moments, the gang dynamics, and the city atmosphere, but felt the free roam areas were too small, and the minigames wore thin over time. They saw it as a solid rental or one and done playthrough, not necessarily something worth revisiting unless you are a hardcore fan of the film. So yeah, player reception was all over the place. But one thing's for sure, the Warriors didn't go unnoticed. It sparked conversations, divided opinion, and left its mark as one of Rockstar's most unique projects. Whether you thought it was a flawed masterpiece or just a cool experiment, it still managed to do what most movie tie-ins never could. It made you care. Now, while the Warriors was generally praised by critics and gained a cult following with players, not everything was smooth behind the scenes. In 2006, a year after the game's release, Rockstar and Take-Two found themselves in legal hot water, this time from inside the Warriors world. Roger Hill, the actor who played Cyrus in the original 1979 film, filed a $250,000 lawsuit against the company for using his likeness and voice in the game without his permission. According to the report, Rockstar had actually reached out to Hill beforehand, offering to pay him for his voice and likeness, but he declined. Despite that, his character still appeared in the game, acting as a central figure who kicks off the events of the story. Hill, who then was working at a Manhattan Business College library, wasn't thrilled. He believed they crossed the line and he took them to court over it. Rockstar's response? They claimed to have a valid third-party license for using Cyrus' character likeness. So while the game was gaining praise for being authentic and true to the film, the situation exposed the complicated reality of what it takes to bring iconic characters into interactive media, especially decades later. When it was all said and done, The Warriors wasn't just another beat 'em up. It was a game that sparked conversation. Critics called it stylish and immersive. Players were split between loving its vibe and questioning its polish. And even the actors got pulled into the spotlight years later. But one thing is clear. The Warriors game made an impact. Whether it was through controversy, cult status, or the sheer fact that it made a 1979 film feel new again in 2005. This title left its mark, and it still has people talking nearly 2 decades later. When it comes to the Warriors, there are usually two types of people: those who've seen the movie and understand all the references, and those who only know the game. Maybe they heard about it in passing. Maybe they played it, loved it, and never knew that there was a movie. Me, I fall into the first group. I knew of the film first. It's actually one of my brother's all-time favorites. And growing up, I can still remember hearing Luther's voice calling out the Warriors to come out and play. That stuck with me, so I always knew the story. But what I didn't know back then was the inspiration behind it, or the behind-the-scenes story, which I'll learn more about while making this video. And in a way, it made me appreciate it on a whole different level. It's funny. I feel like me and Dan Houser were on the same wavelength. If you remember what he said in that interview, when you watch it as a 7-year-old kid, it seems super weird and terrifying. When you watch it today, it's over the top. It's sort of surreal, but the structure and style translate perfectly into a video game world. I can relate to that completely. I was that kid, watching this strange, almost dreamlike movie that felt like something out of another world, but knowing deep down it was something special. And now, as I got older, I ended up getting the Rockstar Games collection on PS3. I booted up the Warriors, played it for a few minutes, and then got sidetracked by Xenoverse. Not because the game was bad, just bad timing, but I held on to it. See, part of the reason why I brought this channel back after 7 years was because I had so many games I never really gave a shot. This game, giving it a proper chance, was more than worth it, 10 times over. Rockstar could have chosen any older film to adapt, and sure, we've seen titles like Reservoir Dogs, Scarface, and others get games too. But The Warriors, that was a cult classic, not a critically acclaimed Hollywood darling, and yet it's one that worked the best. Between the gang dynamics, the flashback missions, and the way it all built up to that iconic meeting with Cyrus, this game didn't just retell the movie, it made it feel bigger. And honestly, the game's way more violent than the film, and that's part of its edge. It leaned into the chaos. What really stood out to me was how this game gives us more depth. Cleon forming the gang, the origin stories of every member, the build up to that infamous night in the Bronx. It made the world feel lived in. It made it personal. And if the flashbacks are considered canon, I'm 100% cool with that because they work. This story is actually pretty good. I mean, just think about it. You can take this story, break it into about 3 different television seasons that you can put on a streaming service, and you can't tell me it wouldn't work. You start with Cleon and building up into the Warriors. Then you're watching the Warriors take down Virgil, taking down the hi-hats, and then eventually we end up with the original movie story. It works and translates perfectly, whether it's a video game, and probably even if it was a TV show. It's just something to think about. So yeah, besides having a stronger appreciation for the film, I developed a real connection with the game too. If I had more time between uploads, I probably would have 100%ed it just for the love of it. But with weekly drops, the clock is always ticking. Still, I can say this. After replaying the game and revisiting the movie, one's a certified cult classic done right, and the other is a certified movie tie-in done right. If you made it to the end of this video, first off, thank you. I appreciate you for rocking with me all the way through. Next week, we're bringing the Mortal Kombat takeover to a close with Mortal Kombat X. Then, in 2 weeks, we're heading back to Liberty City as we tackle GTA Liberty City stories. Also, next week, I'll be dropping a special preview of the next big takeover series coming to the channel. So, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to stay locked in. And if you enjoyed the video, it really helps push the content out to more people. With that said, this is the Retro Phantom, signing out.